And when you conduct a census at such a large scale, like 240 million people in my country, so we come up with underrepresentation of persons with disabilities on one hand because of the stigma attached with disability condition, and also gender disparities because people do not specifically like to disclose information about women folk in the families who have some kind of disability. So I would like to know if you have conducted, in Fiji or Nauru or Bermuda or other, island nations, these census, population census, so it's easier. So what is percentage of persons with disabilities, and whether there are any gender disparities reported in that data?
Thank you. So 240 million, not exactly a SID, Pakistan. I think we'll take another question and then.
Thank you. My name is Marian from Ghana. I've listened to you and I've seen the posters. I think I was very impressed with the Bermuda example where if you have contracts above 50,000, you publish it. The whole idea about ATI is to get information that you can't get generally. So the focus is more struggling to get information, so we create these laws to help us. But if there's a system like this where there's enough transparency, enough to advance the information, we won't be struggling so much. I think that we have to hit that part more and get governments to be ahead of time. Rather than getting everybody to ask, bring this, what did you use for this or that? Every quarter, like they said, within a period. So people pay attention, they draw attention, and they know who are getting the contracts. So over the period, we can trace or follow the money more easily. I think this is one of the things. And I also noticed that issues about companies or people who work with government but are not exactly in government, how do we pierce the veil and get to them? Because if we don't, government might start shifting to parties that they can use to circumvent these things. I'm hoping that as we do our ATI laws, we won't just focus on government, but we'll look at parties that must disclose information and how we can get it easily. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to comment on this contractual thing. So in my country, in Canada, every contract over $10,000 has to be disclosed. 10,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 7,000 American dollars. And when that rule was first brought in, people were screaming and, oh, this is what, but then now it just become routine and it just happens. And it's not that every quarter they disclose the contract as it gets signed, pretty much the next day. And I mean, this, for me, it really illustrates one of the issues in this space is that when you first introduce things, you mentioned about changing the culture and how it would be difficult and whatever, there's the initial mind shift is quite difficult to engineer or to get over. But once you do it, then it becomes routine and normal, and it's not, the world doesn't fall apart because you publish contracts. Quite the opposite, it's a benefit. So it's really, how to, even radical openness doesn't bring things down. But just to move your head there, and once you do that. But okay, we have 2 questions. Mina, would you like to give some response first?
With regards to disabilities, we don't exactly have that statistics. We don't have much people with disabilities requesting for information from our side. I think I can say there was about 5 people requesting for information with disabilities during the last 3 years in Seychelles, perhaps.
That made requests.
They can, yeah. With regards to holding government institutions more accountable for us in Seychelles, like I said, we passed a mandatory instrument in February this year, mandating them to proactively disclose certain types of information, and this includes contracts as well, environmental impact assessments, their budgeting, all their expenses. Even political parties have to publish it on their website. So